So let's see what happens today. A productive day. Um, got to do a lot of things actually. Let's see what we have. We have a tarot reading for. What do we have this for? Six. Six. So this is for Virgo. Oh, forgot what house. What house? What part of your life are you talking about? Usually 10 minutes is never enough, but this is what fits in what I can fit in here. Um, fine. Okay, so house of transformation, house of taboos, house of troubles, house of death, house of finance, shared resources, your partner's resources, your parents, then what? Your your parents, well, you, kind of parents, children. It's so weird. Um, the thing that your parents like to do, your parents' hobbies, something like that. Um, your partner's income resources as well as part of this one, of course. I kind of pre-shoveled this already anyway. We'll see what we get. Sorry, I'm looking at the other camera. So, see what we get. Oh, card. That one will not reveal itself. Feels like there's, oh, okay. There's going to be a huge story here. I don't think that's a lot of cards. Okay, let's try that again. It's almost like something wants to come out. Mhm. This one came out. Um, Revealed itself. Okay, these are the ones. So let's see. So I feel like with this spread, I feel like there's several that have come out all together. So it feels like there's this one card, it's the Hierophant. Um, this one feels like call this. There's some sort of piece that wants to be resolved, or some sort of like it almost like you're telling people to stop. There's some sort of like um people kind of looking up to you, and then but then they're not really knowing what to do. It feels like they're just coming to you for information, or they're coming to you for some sort of blessing or kind of approval. And you're kind of going like, wait a second here. So um, it feels like there's um, a certain approach that needs to be taken. Um, but it's kind of like two-sided. There's two choices that have to be made. There's a key to this whole thing. There's some sort of secret. It's sort of unhidden. It's below, sort of unhidden. It's not revealing itself. Um, and I feel like this one's the hidden part. I feel like this one's about what am I feeling here? Someone who's just, or the journey you're in has something to do with something you wanted to kind of know about. Knowing that it's more about this kind of thing, especially it's in the house. If it's in the house of the eighth house, or this area is about things that are not only taboo, but things that are hidden in plain sight. You have to go into the subconscious. You have to go into your instincts and things that are you're willing to, take risks on. Um, okay, it is tied to health as well. It's a house, another house of health in medical astrology. So it's tied to this whole kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily it's a choice I had to be made. Maybe there's like two sides to this. There's two sides to this, I guess you can say, problem. Like in science, when you have a problem to solve, meaning like the paragraph that comes along. I don't remember. So I remember this being done in physics class. But the second card that came up was Queen of Cups, and there's a certain staring. There's a certain thing that you're observing. It's almost like, again, there's something two-sided about this one as well. There's something like you're looking at two sides of the angle, two angles of one piece, two sides of the same coin. Um, but it feels like there's this sort of obsessive stare at it. It's almost like what to do, what to do, what to do, what to do. Um, and you're kind of caught in an island. It feels like you're kind of isolated from this whole process. You don't know what's happening, and it feels like you're just kind of I'm hearing the no man's an island kind of thing, but I feel like with this obsession, it feels kind of leaves you out because of the obsession. And you're kind of just waiting for things kind to happen, not to be so blunt, but it's a kind of like you're sitting there and waiting for things to kind of be revealed to you, but it's not. The things that are coming all together, the tower, I'm feeling like this one's about release. This is of something about taking the plunge. So again, there's some sort of risk. That's why I saw this. Okay, that's one. Some sort of plunge that you have to take, some sort of risk that you have to take. You have to get out of that comfort zone, out of that whole place of like, I think I know what I'm doing. This is very Virgo. Virgo likes to claim that it has all these knowledge. Not being judgmental. I'm just saying, Virgo likes to be pure. When it likes to be pure, likes to have that sort of the way it should be. So there's a shadow to that. You have to learn how to let go. The shadow comes through in the Pisces side, especially in the water sign and water house. There's a release of those things and really going into the emotions. Remember the isolation thing? There's something about isolation here. Um, King of Pentacles here feels like never had this card before. There's some sort of growth also at the same time, but I feel like it's almost like the growing has become sort of too much. It's almost like you've come to this point where you're just growing too much. And there's like vine delivery. You kind of just like sitting there again, contemplating what to do with the resource you get, the kind of resource, informational resource, physical material resource, intelligent resource or mental resource, whatever it is, right? Skill sets. Okay. Because it is tied to health as well. There's something about something growing inside. There's some sort of like excess, I would say. There's probably a need for things to be, what do you call that? Cut down, nipping in the bud. I'm hearing you up in the bud, like sort of to clear the way, clear the path. We have here the Nine of Cups. So again, it feels like you're content, but maybe there's not much content, but actually in truth there is. Okay, that's what I'm getting. It's upside down, so it's an internal process of like, am I fully filling my cup? But I feel like you do know the answer to that, and no answer above outside of yourself can reveal that to you. Queen of Swords is also happening at the same time, where you kind of feel like there's a bit of justice sort of feel to this, like the sword is you're reclaiming your right, and you're saying this is what I know, and you're kind of high and lofty, up in the loft. I'm getting this one feeling of like, um, but there's a certain like insistence on something. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles here. It's showing that it's like, this is what I got. This is what I got. There's some sort of showing. There's a path on the way to kind of being in that oneness, alone, kind of maybe kind of isolation. Remember, there's this sort of isolation here, right? And then you have here the Emperor. This one's upside down. So it feels like you have to own what you it's kind of standing your ground, but it's not really that. It's kind of like standing your ground within yourself and telling yourself that there's a process of emotion that needs to be processed, but there's a resistance to that. Most likely because it's an earth thing, and this is pertaining to anything that's water related, emotions, deep stuff, really deep stuff, right? Shadow work is also kind of tied to this. Karma is a little bit tied to this, but when I say karma, I mean the choices that we make that have consequences that we can learn from even if they do happen, right? So the Emperor here is telling me that there is a standing your ground, but it's not exactly for other people. It's all about yourself. So Anyways, I hope that was helpful. That's it for now.